Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something called executive functions. These are the powerful mental skills that kind of act as your brain's management system. And really understanding them is key to figuring out how we all navigate the world, especially when we're talking about individuals on the autism spectrum.
Okay, so to get our heads around this, let me ask you a question. How complicated is it to wash your hands? I mean, you do it every single day, right? You probably don't even think about it. It seems super simple.
But, when you actually break it down, it's a whole sequence of separate steps. Your brain has to remember the goal, start the process, and then follow every single step in the right order to get it done. This super simple task actually shows this hidden complexity that our brain just manages for us, almost on autopilot.
Well, that whole management process that's happening behind the scenes, the planning, the sequencing, the focus, that's all being handled by this powerful set of mental skills we call executive functions.
Think of it like this. They're the air traffic controller for your brain. Now, they aren't the airplanes themselves. Those are your thoughts and actions. Executive functions are the ones in the tower, directing all the incoming and outgoing information, helping you organize everything to reach whatever goal you're trying to achieve.
So what's really cool is that all these complex skills basically boil down to three core abilities. First, you've got working memory. It's like a little mental sticky note for holding on to information. Then there's cognitive flexibility, which is all about your brain's ability to switch gears and adapt to change. And finally, you have inhibitory control, which is pretty much your brain's pause button that helps you fight off distractions.
And I love this quote because it just perfectly captures how important these skills are. It's so true, right? Just like a house absolutely needs a solid foundation. All the big, complicated things we build in our lives, our relationships, our careers, even just our daily routines, all of it rests on these fundamental skills.
But what happens when that foundation, that command center, is just wired differently? Well, for individuals on the autism spectrum, this whole system often works in a really unique way, and it can lead down a path that's, well, pretty easy for others to misunderstand. And it's not that the goal can't be reached, it's just that the path from point A to point B might look less like a straight line and a lot more like a scenic route. This journey can get sidetracked by thoughts or things happening around you that are just harder to filter out. But it's also true that this scenic route can lead to some incredible creativity and attention to detail. Seeing the world in a way that more direct path might completely miss.
This is just a perfect real-life example from a parent. They told their son to do something clear, go wash your hands. But a single distraction, just a toy car on the floor, can completely derail that original plan. It just goes to show you how powerful that pause button, that inhibitory control, really needs to be.
Okay, so understanding this different path, that's step one. The next step is figuring out how to actually offer support. If that cognitive foundation is different, how can we help reinforce it? Well, it's all about building bridges with really practical tools to help anyone navigate their world successfully. One of the most effective strategies out there is to make things visual. Using stuff like picture schedules or step-by-step charts literally takes the pressure off the brain's sticky note, that working memory we talked about. It gives a clear, solid roadmap for what's happening now and what's coming next, which can be incredibly calming and organizing.
Another huge tool is to just break bigger tasks down into smaller, more manageable pieces. So instead of one giant, overwhelming instruction, you create a series of really simple steps. This makes any goal feel so much more achievable, and it builds a pathway to success one little step at a time.
Now, this next strategy it's a subtle shift, but it is so powerful. It's all about moving away from just giving instructions and instead helping someone build their own internal planning skills. It's a process sometimes called metacognition, which is really just a fancy way of saying thinking about thinking.
So instead of you being the external command center, you prompt them to fire up their own. By asking questions like this, you're not just telling them what to do, you're actually teaching them how to think through a process, which empowers them to become their own problem solvers.
And it's so important to remember these tools aren't just for the classroom or for when you're a kid. Supporting executive functions is a lifelong journey because, let's face it, these skills are essential at every single stage of life.
I mean, just look at this timeline. These skills develop over a really long time. The foundations are laid when we're little, but they're still being refined all through our teens, and they don't even fully mature until around age 25. That really highlights just how critical continuous support and understanding are for years and years.
And in adulthood, these challenges don't just vanish, they just evolve, right? Difficulties with planning and organization can impact everything from hitting deadlines at work to managing a household budget, or even navigating the complicated, unwritten rules of social relationships.
So at the end of the day, understanding executive functions isn't about fixing a problem. It's about recognizing and respecting a different way of processing the world. And it leaves all of us with a really critical question. By understanding these different paths, how can we all work to build a more flexible, more patient, and more supportive world? One that gives everyone the right tools to build their own version of success.